Accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. The plantation programming exposed. Step 1. Let's start with the trigger phrase. The favorite Christian phrase. Accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Sounds holy, right? Now let's break it down word by word, because this is plantation programming in disguise. Step 2. What does accept really mean? Accept. To receive something being offered to you, usually without resistance. On the plantation, enslaved Africans were told to accept their position, accept their master's rule, and accept their new religion. It was about submission. To accept meant to stop fighting, to stop questioning, and to give up power over your own life. Step 3. What does Lord really mean? Ma. The word Lord is an Old English and European term, meaning master, ruler, or owner of land and people. On the plantation, the slave master was literally called Lord or Master, the one who controlled the enslaved. So when you say Jesus is Lord, you're submitting to an unseen master in the same way enslaved people were forced to submit to their earthly master. It's the same language of control. Step 4. What does Savior mean? Savior, someone who rescues you from danger, punishment, or suffering. On the plantation, enslaved Africans were told their only way to salvation wasn't through their ancestors, their strength, or their resistance, but through obedience to Jesus, the Savior they were forced to worship. Step 5. The full phrase. Complete mental submission. When you say, I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior, you are unknowingly saying, I submit to a master. I accept ownership over me. I rely on someone else to rescue me. I give up self-power and ancestral wisdom. Step 6. This language was born on the plantation. Before slavery, Africans never used words like Lord or Savior. Those are European Christian terms imported during slavery to replace African spiritual systems. Enslaved Africans were beaten, terrorized, and brainwashed into repeating this very phrase as a sign of obedience to white supremacy, disguised as religion. Step 7. The language of control. This phrase is not spiritual, it's psychological control. It strips you of ancestral connection. It keeps you in a position of begging instead of empowerment. It locks you mentally back onto the plantation, even if your body is free. Step 8. Before colonization. No Lord, no Savior, no Jesus. Africans honored ancestors, nature, divine balance, life cycles. No one was waiting for a foreign savior, because salvation was within and in the community. The concept of needing a master to save you is not African, it's colonial. Step 9. Why most black Christians stay mentally enslaved. They never study black history or slave history. They don't realize their religion was weaponized to control their mind, fear, and spirit. They repeat plantation words without realizing the psychological chains still exist. Step 10. The truth. Break the spell. You don't need to accept what your ancestors resisted. You don't need a Lord. You are your own sovereign being. You don't need a Savior, because your ancestors, your DNA, and your resilience saved you. The phrase, accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, is a colonizer's spell. The moment you break that spell, you reclaim your mind, your ancestors, and your true self. Step 11. Let me give you a few plantation words, still used in Christianity. 1. Lord means master owner. 2. Obey means submit without question. 3. Servant means slave. 4. Kingdom means monarchy, systems of rulership. 5. Shepherd and sheep means master and controlled followers. 6. Master. The very word enslaved Africans were forced to use. Every one of these is tied to hierarchy, domination, and control, not liberation. Step 12. Black people's favorite plantation phrases, still used today. Let's expose these one by one. 1. If it wasn't for Jesus, we wouldn't be here. This is a plantation lie. Your ancestors, not Jesus, kept you alive through strength, resilience, and survival. 2. Jesus died for me. Another mental shackle. This is the same line enslaved Africans were told to keep them obedient. Your suffering is noble. Jesus suffered too. 3. I need Jesus. Yet another slave code. They told enslaved Africans they were broken, lost, sinful, and only the white man's Jesus could save them. All of these phrases were spoken on plantations, and black people are still repeating them today without realizing they are verbal chains. Step 13. The root problem. Studying the wrong history. Christians spend years learning Bible history. Who wrote what? Who walked where? What Paul said? What Peter did? But they never study their own history. The history of Africa, slavery, spiritual systems, the ancestors, the real names erased. The moment black people study black history, they'll see that these Christian terms are the exact words used to control slaves. Ask yourself this, the part they never think about. Why do you even need to accept Jesus? You didn't accept him in the womb. You didn't accept him when you were born. Most people don't even hear about Jesus until they're 8, 10, or older. So who told you about him? Your parents. They passed down the same slave programming they were taught. That's exactly what they did on the plantation. Enslaved parents were forced to convert their children to Christianity, so the mental chains stayed locked down generation after generation. Final truth: break the spell and reclaim your mind. Stop using slave language to define your life. Stop passing down the mental chains to your children. Study your real history, not just Bible stories. Reconnect to your ancestors, earth, spirit, and truth. Because every time you say, accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you're unknowingly standing on the same mental plantation your ancestors were forced onto. The chains were never just on the body. They were always on the mind.